And we are live in 2020. Hello, kids. How is everybody doing? Happy New Year. Happy 2020. Welcome to the first episode of 2020, which is episode 25 of The Abyss. I'm your host, The Eternal Abyss. First and foremost, please excuse the audio quality. I mentioned this before in chat and maybe a bit on Twitter. I don't remember if I did. Hi, Train Wave, the Eternal Brap. But anyways, what I was saying was I had to disassemble my entire rig to do stuff with the audio equipment, and I'm putting it all together now. I tried to get it all working, having some audio issues. Hi, Mom Patch. Oh, I gotta turn that audio on so you guys hear that. And I gotta make sure that you can see that. What happened here? That's on. There we go. Hey, what's going on? Let's see here. Why am I not hearing that audio? Not that I'm begging for lemons, but if you kick me one more lemon, I can see where the audio issue is. Just saying. Um, but anyways, um, I was gone for a couple weeks, Christmas holiday, all that. Okay, I see where the problem is. Hopefully, this will behave so people can hear the lemon grab screaming only one. We'll see. And I was on break and everything, so a lot of stuff has happened. Wow. Between just these past couple weeks. Sheer insanity, frankly, especially on the side of the Democrats. There it is. It's a little low, but it's there. Um, Before I go ahead into the meat and potatoes of the episode, I want to first of all welcome everyone on Bitwave. I want to welcome everyone on Periscope, DLive, and YouTube. If you're on any of those platforms, uh, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for the donations, Train Wave. And if you have not subscribed or followed on any of those platforms, whatever they may be it on Bitwave, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope, please do so. Uh, as you can tell, sometimes I don't always do these at the same time or the same day or consistently on occasion if there's holidays or special occasions coming up. So if you don't want to miss an episode, you need to subscribe, you need to hit the notification. Oh, hey, ice cream truck. Thank you. That's long. I said this from last year that I need to get a shorter version of that, and I'll get around to it eventually, I promise. Okay, so on to the meat and potatoes of everything. As I mentioned, make sure you follow, subscribe, do whatever you need to do to make sure that you're part of the notification process. I am also on Libri, L or Libri. I'm not even sure how it's pronounced. LBRY. That's a YouTube archiver that you can just sign into and you can view all the videos on there as well. I also archive all my videos on BitChute. I am falling a little bit behind on doing that. It's a bit of a manual effort at this point, but please go ahead and just follow everywhere because that's the best way to make sure that you don't miss any of my takes, whatever they may be, hot, cold, moderate, lukewarm, I don't know. But there are a couple things that I wanted to talk about that happened in news. And I know everybody's itching to hear about the latest and greatest over the Iran, World War III on and off again. Sounds like a bad breakup. Uh, do we Do we have do we have the war? Do we not have the war? Do we have the war? Do we not have the war? Who knows? At this point, it's been canceled. But we'll talk about that a little bit further down the line here. Uh, Impeachment update. Pelosi is a partisan hack. That's essentially the update. She's actually pissing off Democrats. That's the funniest part of this whole thing. She rushed this whole thing. She twisted everyone's arm in the House. Everyone, of the squad, wanted her to impeach Trump, impeach Trump, impeach Trump. And lo and behold, they go through this whole ridiculous farce, this whole kangaroo court, this whole ridiculousness that they did. It was a joke. It was an absolute joke. And she has these articles of impeachment which are pure horse pucky at this stage. And what does she do with it? Oh, I'm just going to hold on to them. I'm not going to send them over to the Senate because she knows for a fact it's never going to pass the Senate. Never. Never, ever, 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 ever. Not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But the Democrats now are getting antsy and getting pissed off about this whole thing because I guess some felt that with the sense of urgency, the sense of this momentum that they were building up towards impeachment, that they had an opportunity to try and sway some of the Republicans in the Senate. I think it's a bunch of crap. The Senate was never gonna, as I mentioned, never ever 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 ever. It was never gonna happen that they would just go along with this baloney that Pelosi and the Democrats put together. However, we're at this impasse now where Pelosi is between a rock and a hard place because you have this coup that has been building up and in the works for, since election day, even before that, but essentially since election day, and Trump won the presidency. Uh, the Democrats and the media have been working to try and remove Trump from the presidency. And you already had Schiff also saying that he had evidence that he was going to be able to impeach Pence as well, which is absolute nonsense. Um, just like he had that Russian collusion evidence that he went on for, I think it was about almost a full 2 years. He went on the media and kept saying that he had evidence, he had evidence, he had evidence. Uh, Omega Man 24 says, I'd rather her be between a rock and 6 feet. Well, I actually don't wish death upon anybody, but that is funny. I will laugh at that. Anyway, so you have Feinstein, Senator Feinstein, who's pissed off and has told Pelosi that you got to submit these things. We got to get this ball rolling. We got to get this going before the momentum dies so much that we can't persuade any Republicans. That's essentially what she was saying. Which again, to me, it's just complete nonsense. It's not going to happen. So as of yet, Pelosi is still clutching on to these impeachment articles of impeachment in her bony, arthritic hands, and she's not letting them go right now. We'll see what happens in the near future if that changes between this stream and the next. So we'll see what's going on. I'm going to talk about that troll. I am going to talk about, yeah, she's essentially the Crypt Keeper, Mom Patch, you're right. But I am going to talk about Epstein as well. Yeah, there's a little update on that. Photos have been released of the fabric that was used to quote unquote suicide Epstein. uh, Epstein didn't kill himself. It's pretty obvious. The photos they're a little gruesome. I'm not going to put them up here because I don't want YouTube to have a cow or anything. Actually, I'm not really going to put much stuff up here because, as usual, my level of preparation and production value is very minimal. Unfortunately, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff. Not only the vacation, but I've been busy as heck after, post vacation busyness, which is always a thing. So I haven't had an opportunity to do a whole lot of material preparation. I would like to do more of that if I have the chance, and that's where your help and assistance can come in. But we'll talk about that later. I'm not gonna keep shilling throughout the entire thing. Um, so Epstein, yeah, basically nothing about the autopsy and the photos of what was used and the cell and everything, nothing matches with the description of a suicide. It's more likely. If someone sends a link, maybe I can put it up there. I don't have a link readily available, Meave. So we'll see. I can try and put that up, but there's nothing consistent about it. I've seen some articles that have said it's more consistent of piano wire, because if you're suiciding, basically, yeah, you got it, troll. Um, if you're committing suicide with anything, it doesn't even matter if it's fabric or piano wire or whatever, the wound should be up against where the neck and the jawline, basically ear to ear kind of of an injury. You would see that dig into the skin there. However, he has it low. He has it closer to where his collarbones are, like towards the bottom of his neck, not towards the top. That is a clear indication that someone strangled and did not commit suicide. And I doubt Epstein strangled himself with piano wire to the point where he broke 3 bones. That's just my take. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Or maybe someone with the initials H and C was involved somehow. I don't know. By the way, since we're talking about Epstein and people that names that start with H and C, let me make it perfectly clear. I have zero intentions of suiciding. I've never had any indication of suicide, never thought about it, never contemplated it. I'm perfectly fine. No intentions of killing myself. So if somehow I disappear and some news comes up that some local hooligan found strangled somehow, um, or killed or something like that, that was definitely there's definitely foul play afoot. Dun dun dun. All right. So another Steen update. There's a lot of Steen issues here. Feinstein, Weinstein, Epstein. Weird trend. I'm not gonna say any more than that. But Harvey Weinstein, I don't know if a lot of people saw this article about Harvey Weinstein being slapped with charges, indictments, and everything. Hi, Patch. Dispatch. Yes, I am, sir. I am restreaming. um, should I not be restreaming? No, sir. I am on Guntwave. I don't know if that's the new or the old one. I don't. I'm not up to date on all your updates, sir. So you'll have to. We can powwow about that later. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. On the Gunt. But anyways, um, Harvey Weinstein. Thank you, sir. So, Weinstein, the thing that I found very interesting about this whole Weinstein story that he got slapped with these charges and everything isn't so much the fact that he got charged with all these things in the courtroom, and he's going to go through a whole criminal trial, obviously. The thing that I find interesting was the photo that I saw about him leaving the courtroom, where you had some people holding his arms. He was using a walker. He was using a walker, and it seemed like he had lost some weight too. But I find it very surprising. Like Bill Cosby, whatever your opinion on that is, I'm not going to get into the details of that whole mess, but Bill Cosby, he had people accompanying him. He was a blind man. He was, all these people helping him upstairs, downstairs, all these kinds of things. You have Weinstein, who up until recently seemed like he could run a marathon, metaphorically speaking, because the guy's a fat ass. But let's ignore that for a moment. Um, Now he's in a walker all of a sudden? When did this happen? I find it very interesting. Seems like these guys are just trying to favor, like, gain favor and sympathy by seeming ill. They're physically frail. Seems like a whole mess of manipulation. And people like Weinstein, specifically Weinstein, that's what they thrive on. Really, that's how they manage to do what they do. Clinton as well, Bill Clinton. It's manipulation. It's playing with people's uh, emotion. Absolutely, it's absolutely the sympathy card, mom patch. Um, it's ridiculous, frankly, that hey, Super Susie, thanks for you donated the ice cream on D Live. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's people. These people play the sympathy card because they know they're in the wrong. Absolutely know they're in the wrong. They're gonna get slapped so hard by the system because of the laws that they're breaking. They're gonna get hurt so bad by this in one form or another when it's just so obvious with in the case of like Weinstein, it's so obvious this guy is guilty as sin. And there's so much evidence to back it up, and there's so many accomplices too. That's the thing. You can if cops and investigators are smart, they will know how to get people on board to rat this guy out big time, which has already partially happened online. You have all these articles written about him. It's this guy is in a world of caca, let's put it. It's bad. It's pretty bad for him. So I just find it disgusting though. If this guy is using a walker and he's using that for sympathy, to me it's pretty gross. Yeah, it's pretty gross. Moving on. One thing that happened today is has to do with ginge and cringe. I don't know if too many people read the Daily Mail, but if you're familiar with the Daily Mail, you'll learn very soon that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they're called ginge and cringe in the UK by the tabloids because he's a ginger and she's a cringer. Uh, Good Lord, she's so full of cringe. Recently, I saw a photo of her with like her pits all sweaty. I mean, you married a prince. You can't afford a speed stick? You can't afford some antiperspirant? What's the matter with you? Your whole team of people, your whole team of people can't go, psst, Megan, here's the roll on. Before you go out, slap some on there. It's bad. And on top of that, they have basically exiled themselves from the royal family. And it seems like this was just unilateral. There seems to be no discussion within the royal family about this. Ginge and Cringe decided we're just gonna not step away from all the royal duties. We're gonna move to Canada. We're gonna still keep the house that taxpayers remodeled, like all those millions of dollars that came out of taxpayer money. We want to keep that, but we're gonna separate ourselves from the royal family because, and this seems to have all really come to be. I'm sure there's a lot of build up to something like this. This isn't something that just happens like that. That one day they're tra la la, nothing's wrong, and then all of a sudden, exile! I refuse to be part of the royal family. It doesn't happen just overnight. But I think the straw that broke the camel's back, as what is being reported, allegedly, is a recent photo with the Queen, uh, his brother, his older brother, Harry's older brother, and I believe Charles was in this picture too. I may be wrong on that one, and her grandson from Kate and what's his name? His name escapes me right now. The older brother. Uh, that just shows you how much I really care about the Royals. I don't even remember their names most of the time because I really don't. I'm American. Who gives a crap? Really, at the end of the day. But what ended up happening was this photo basically did not include Harry, and apparently that ticked them off to the point where because it highlighted the fact that they were kind of second class royals. They're not really up with the main hierarchy, which I find very interesting. I'm gonna say this little quick bit and then we'll move on because I really don't want to spend too much time on these dupe like dingleberries. Um, what's going on to me is like, okay, let's say it's true. Let's say it's true that this photo is what was the catalyst, was the straw that broke the camel's back. William, thank you, Mom Patch. Yes, William, Prince William is the brother of Henry. Thank you very much. Sorry, I was just reading what Troll Text You was saying. Yeah, I actually didn't see Joe Rogan's coverage, but Joe Rogan has his moments where even someone like him can realize when something is BS, it's BS. Which, yeah, I know it doesn't really mean much as you're saying, but the fact that he is a very popular streamer and he's not considered like an alt-right guy. He is relatively normie for considered by most people. So yeah, a lot of people will put weight on that. Will definitely put weight on that. But going back to the whole Prince William and Henry thing. So let's say it's true that this photo of the Queen, Prince William, his son, and I think Charles was in this photo too. It was a remake of a picture that was done, I believe, like 20, I think 20 or 30 years prior, something like that. I don't remember the exact dates, the exact years. But let's say that is the case. If that is the case, okay, I understand hierarchies. I understand that if let's say I was born into a royal family where hierarchies are incredibly important because that determines who is the successor to the throne. And if I happen to be born the second son, then yeah, I understand that that would not be something that he would be happy about. But at the same time, if you're born into that, it's something that you dealt with all your life. It's a part of your life. As much as it would suck and makes you unhappy, there are reminders that you won't be at the throne, that you're just the second prince. It's not going to happen. Yeah, exactly. The heir and the spare. I get that you wouldn't be very happy about that and be very happy about the reminders. And Lord knows William would most likely have told his brother growing up that he was the lesser of the two because of that reason. Because older siblings are going to do that. They're going to dig into you with everything they got. It's what it is. That's really no reason to basically like divorce yourself from your royal heritage, especially over someone like Meghan Markle, who Meghan Markle has been a wrecker of homes within her own home and outside. And this lady, if you want to call her a lady, she has no social graces. She has no concept of what it means to be part of a family of that kind, a royal family. I mean, not even I really have a concept of that because nobody does. Unless you're born into that, you're not going to get it. So it would behoove someone to try and at least put an effort in if they are married into this sort of thing. that they would try and follow all the rules, protocols, procedures, everything that they have. She refuses to do that because she's a spoiled brat. Yeah, but not even Kate. I mean, Kate's all right. She manages to follow most of the rules, and she hasn't really brought up much controversy. Kate definitely knows how to act as part of a royal family, and because she's going to be next in line with William, so I think she's smart enough to realize, oh, you know what? Maybe it's best to just nod and accept until the old lady kicks it, and then once I'm in, then we can probably shake it up a little bit. But not beforehand. Beforehand is definitely not what you want to do. And Meghan Markle doesn't get that. She's a spoiled brat. She's an actress. She's someone who does not understand high society. She's the equivalent. This is the way I see it. She's the equivalent of those people that become rich versus people that are born rich. You know what I mean? You have people that are blood that are born into it, so it's just it's just how it is. That's your plan with your mom too, dispatch. Mom Patch, are you paying attention to this? We have an usurper among your ranks. Just saying. Uh, um, and exactly, some people are just cut of a different cloth. And I'm not saying this to really rag on Meghan Markle because I think she's not a very intelligent person overall. Um, but at the same time, it's like someone with a modicum of intelligence would realize the position that they find themselves in, and you would think they would put some more thought into their actions, and they would understand that they're part of something that's a little bit bigger than them because especially the monarchy in England that's been around for, well, I don't know, thousands of years, um, might be something that you want to kind of pay a little bit attention to when it comes to something that has such a long and convoluted history. You know, that's just me. If I was in a situation of that kind, you would have to look at the big picture. Uh, but on to American news again. Well, actually, speaking of actresses and being spoiled and so woke they're stupid, um, Ricky Gervais and the Golden Globes. Did you people hear that monologue? Oh my God, that man is a legend. Whether you're a fan of his or not, whether you agree with him or not, I don't even care anymore. I was never a big Ricky Gervais fan. After hearing that, I want him to host everything. I want him I, I want him to rip into every singer, actor, producer, director. I want him to be on the Golden Globes. I want him to be on the Oscars. I want him to be on the Grammys. This guy is legend. He tore everyone a brand new asshole. It was so beautiful. And you should have seen their faces, like Tom Hanks getting all like indignant and all, oh my God, When Ricky Gervais said everything that everyone's been thinking. He called them out on their hypocrisy. He called them out on their faux wokeness, and they're using their power, if we want to call it power, their stature. That's really what it is. Just their stature in Hollywood as a podium for this wokeness, this SJW nonsense, climate garbage. And then you have people like Michelle Williams saying, "Oh, if I didn't have an abortion, I wouldn't be able to win this award." Gee, really? You really want to go there, lady? You're placing more value on a little statuette. You're saying the little statuette has more intrinsic value than life. What a cunt. Oh my God. I can't even, that just pisses me off listening when people just say stupid crap like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then you had Kate Blanchett. Kate Blanchett talking about climate change, of course. Yeah, climate change. She talked about the Australian brush fires. Oh, we have a climate crisis because of the Australian brush fires. Um, First of all, Kate Blanchett, you might want to try and do something about your squinting, open them eyes, so maybe you can actually read some stuff. And you can see that Australia arrested about 183 people for arson, including some Muslim terrorists, which on the way out of the courtroom were laughing about the whole thing. Yes, laughing about setting fires in the Australian brush. It's ridiculous. And animals getting burnt up. People, I think some people died too. Yeah. Oh yeah. The Australian government put out all these notifications that it was most of the fires. I think about 80 to 90% of the fires that were in the Australian brush were arson. They weren't done by climate change. And you have a valid point. The Spanish arsonists don't usually light fires to not cause damage. Yeah, yeah. So uh, the left, like even Alyssa Milano, was putting a video about the Australian brush fire, saying, "Oh, climate crisis. We're in a climate crisis." No, that's an arson crisis. There's a difference. There's a difference. I know that for the left, that difference is hard to detect. So I'm gonna give them a nice little simple way to determine whether something is climate change related or if it's an intentional human thing like arson. If a person sets something on fire, generally that's arson. I hope that helps you out, Democrats and liberals. Good for you. Uh, what the hell? I don't even know what to think about that. I mean, there's stuff, there's evidence right in front of their face showing them that they're absolutely wrong, and yet they insist. They insist. They absolutely insist. It's oh, soul sucking sometimes. It really is soul sucking sometimes. But we're gonna go and talk a little bit about politics again. Uh, since I am gonna talk a bit more about Iran. I made a quick mention of it at the beginning. Yeah, and that's true, Mom Patch. He pretty much Gervais nailed them for not living in the real world. Absolutely, absolutely. He said that they have no clue what it means to be in the real world, and he's absolutely right. These people live in such a bubble. They have no idea what they're doing. No idea. And I'm glad that he had the balls to say so. Well, it seems like what Troll was asking, how much longer until World War III? It's another troll guy. Apparently, World War III has been canceled, kids. I'm sorry. It They teased us and they teased us and they teased us a little more, and well, turns out it's just not gonna happen. um, and and this whole thing, it's so funny how at every step of the way, as soon as 2020 hit, okay, beginning of the year, within 24, 48 hours of the year starting, Trump had the Democrats praising, defending, and putting up on a pedestal the equivalent of Stalin and Mao and Hitler, like these people that just committed mass murder, and ISIS, for example. He had Democrats defending Soleimani. Soleimani, this guy was a complete piece of garbage. This guy attacked his own people. Okay? This guy killed Iranians. This guy killed Iraqis. This guy killed Americans. This guy was planning more attacks. He wanted the U.S. to get into war with Iran. He wants to take out Israel. These people. This is what the Democrats are defending. The Democrats are defending a terrorist. They're putting his funeral up on live stream, showing the quote unquote mourners, quote unquote mourners, uh, mourning the death of this piece of human garbage. That's what they're doing. Okay? So for those that maybe lived under a rock in these past couple days, uh, what happened was that Iran basically they've been doing a lot of crap for a while, and the U.S. hasn't really responded except with sanctions, just been putting on more sanctions and more sanctions. And finally, there was an attack that happened, and an American contractor was killed. So, in a response, the Trump administration took out Soleimani. And this created a whole brouhaha online because everybody was saying, oh, this is Trump's war, Iran, we're going to get into war with Iran, this is going to be World War III. This just shows you something about also the state of Americans, of the millennials. Millennials mock boomers, saying, okay, boomer. They mock older Americans. But as soon as a whiff of war, a hint, a whisper, a soft breeze of a possible conflict came about, they went en masse to the Selective Service website, crashed it. They crashed the website because they were trying to figure out how to get out of the draft. Pussies! All right? You guys, you millennials are pussies. All right? It's simple as that. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And did this war come about? No, because this was just a strike as a reply to an American getting killed. And then they stormed our embassy, set stuff on fire. They tried to kill people in our embassy, kind of like what happened in Benghazi. But Trump prevented that from getting any worse than just the lobby kind of getting caught on fire, right? So those two things got a response from Trump, which took out Soleimani. The media has not only been covering this funeral of this guy, which I don't even know what they put him in because there wasn't really much left of him. They probably used a Ziploc bag. Uh, I don't know, maybe. And they were also like I think it was NBC or CBS, one of those networks. They were pushing Iranian propaganda because as a reply to Soleimani being killed, Iran shot a bunch of missiles. And a Ukrainian plane went down in a ball of flames, which we don't know what happened there at the time when these missiles were being launched, because that happened at the same time. So, and the Iranian government is now releasing the black box. So I think there's a good chance that one of their missiles or something like that must have struck the plane from in Tehran. I don't know. I really don't know. So you have the Democrats going crazy. You have the media showing this funeral as this guy was the second coming of Jesus Christ. You have this guy as a holy man almost in the eyes of the left. They push propaganda because when Iran shot the missiles, there were no confirmed casualties of any kind. In fact, there are no casualties with those missile strikes. Trump evacuated, did what they need. The administration did what they needed to do to make sure there was no loss of life, and they succeeded. So Trump won again. On top of that, on top of pushing propaganda, on top of showing this guy's funeral, you had people like Michael Moore sending messages to Iran saying, "Oh, on behalf of Americans, we apologize." Yeah, that's true, dispatch. But the thing is, this plane had literally just took off. Dispatch is saying anti-aircraft is different than the surface-to-surface missiles, and that's true. But the thing is, the airplane was low. It had just taken off, and the Iranian government would not let anybody look at the black box. So one can only speculate. I don't know if anything got struck by one of their missiles. Who knows? I have no idea. I'm not making any particular claims at this point. All I'm saying is it's fishy. It's kind of fishy. That's true. Yep, I do know about that as well, dispatch. That after the surface-to-surface missiles were fired, it was warned, advised for all civilian aircraft to avoid the airspace, and they apparently still flew this Ukrainian flight. So who knows what happened? And until facts are coming out and evidence comes out, we won't know for sure. So I'm just gonna let things lie as they are until more information comes in. Yeah, I get that, dispatch. Just saying surface-to-surface missiles wouldn't have been within the scope of, well, surface missiles. That's possible, but if somehow there was a misfire, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of variables there, and who knows? Who knows what the cause is? The thing that's suspicious to me is that the Iranian government is not releasing the black box. So until they don't release the black box, people can only speculate. It may have been just a coincidence that it just happened that this plane had some sort of malfunction and it exploded when these missiles were being launched. I mean, it's a possibility. But until we don't have any facts, we won't really know. And that's the only thing that I find suspicious is the fact that they just don't want to release this black box, you know? So the other thing, however, going back to the response. You have the media pushing propaganda. You have Democrats, especially those like disgusting people like Elon Omar, who is saying that Trump assassinated a foreign official. No, that's not what happened. That's just not happened. So you have politicians that are weighing in on the left that are absolutely, it's just disgusting. It is stomach turning what these people are saying. And then you have people like Michael Moore who's apologizing to Iran and begging for forgiveness. You have um, they call her Tehran Rose now. Tehran Rose, the third girl from Charmed, um, that also apologized to Iran, begging for forgiveness, and then she took a lot of slack for that on Twitter, and she's defending herself, saying, "Oh, I just freaked out, whatever." Yeah, it's just Spooky Ting is saying Trump snuck up behind him and used his hidden blade. Well, he's like Ezio from Assassin's Creed. Holy crap! Trump is part of the Assassins Guild. Oh, interesting. Anyways, yeah, it's ridiculous. This whole thing that he assassinated. Ah, bull crap. That's bull crap. This was it was a response to them killing an American. America had every right and every legal right as well. Let's be clear to retaliate if they wanted to, and we did, and there's nothing left of Soleimani now, which I think is a good thing. One less terrorist in the world is a good thing. The less terrorists there are, the better. Yeah, other deviant. Soleimani was a good boy that wanted to write poetry. Was it what channel was that? I can't remember what channel it was, which network it was that showed this. I think was it CNN? Or was it MSNBC? It was one of those two that showed him reading poetry. Oh, what a sensitive heart. Yeah. I wonder how sensitive he was when he was blown to itty bitty pieces. We'll never know, I suppose. And that's true, Mom Patch. What part of terrorists don't they understand? I don't understand these Democrats. And this is the thing, actually, the one last thing I want to say about this. The left and the Democrats' behavior has gotten increasingly more insane, in my view. Now, when it comes to something like Iran, or taking out, killing this guy, Soleimani, whatever, I I can understand policy differences. I can understand people saying, well, maybe we shouldn't have taken him out. Maybe we shouldn't be engaging in Iran. Maybe we shouldn't be doing this. All right. And maybe we shouldn't be doing that. Whatever. There's a difference, though. There's a level of rhetoric and political commentary that you can do that, yeah, if you're the opposition party, you say, well, we don't quite agree with this, but you don't really apply malice to your opponents. You put it solely as a policy difference. We don't think this is the best policy. We don't think this is the way to go. That's what a lot of Republicans did with Obama. As much as people hated Obama, which a lot of people did, okay, a lot of people did not like the guy. A lot of people thought his policies were very, very, very damaging to the United States, including myself. I never once attributed malice to his behaviors. And there may have been malice. That's the thing. There may have been malice behind his intentions, his behaviors, what he wanted to do. That may be the case. And that's a topic for another time, whether that's the case or not. But what I'm saying in this particular case is the rhetoric that's coming out of the left is not only a policy discussion. It's an opposition to certain policy decisions. They're going absolutely nuts. And this didn't start with Trump. I've talked about this in other streams. The left had already done this a little bit with Reagan. They did this with George W. Bush, saying that he was a war criminal. Okay? They were already using these kinds of words and level of rhetoric with previous Republican presidents. They do it with every Republican president, really. But with Trump, it's gone absolutely insane. These people on the left just have lost their ever living minds. It's just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. When you're defending terrorists and you're defending dictatorships, you're defending governments that are killing their own people. You're defending governments that are throwing homosexuals, that are hanging homosexuals off of cranes. When you're defending governments that want to wipe out an entire nation, that they openly declare, we want to commit genocide. I don't see anything reasonable about that. There's nothing reasonable about that. And the fact that the media is all, apart from a few exceptions, all basically the propaganda arm of the Democrats, then you have to agree with what Trump says, for example, when he says that the press is the enemy of the people. And I would extend that, and I've said this before online. I've said that if I were Trump, I would declare the Democrat Party a domestic terrorist organization. I would do that. And some people may say that that's a little harsh. Some people may say, oh, declaring the Democrats as a domestic terrorist organization may be a bit too extreme. Well, what else would you call an organization that encourages violence against a sitting president? What would you call an organization that does not condemn violence against his supporters? That's right, Mom Patch. Democrats are hostile. Hello, 030 Utrecht from thank you for checking in the stream on Periscope from Amsterdam. Wonderful. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What would you, going back to what I was saying, what would you call an organization that is trying to amass power in one of the branches of government and trying to limit the power in the other, and trying to take control of the judiciary? They're trying to reduce all the powers in the executive branch while Trump is president, and they want to increase the power of the legislative branch. And they want to take over the judiciary if they can. That's right, Dispatch. For a group of inclusivity and safe spaces, they aren't very open to different opinions. You might be onto something there, Dispatch, sir. Yeah. So, and then you also have people who have openly declared, for example, um, you have people in the legislature, Democrats, that have said our country is evil. They say our country is not advanced. Our country is racist. Our country, we're xenophobic, homophobic. We're every phobic thing that they throw our way. Um, I would say if you have a group of people, apart from the fact that they also, what would you call a group that are performing a coup? They said they're performing a coup. They said they're working on this for 2 years via text inside the FBI, inside our government organizations. They've used the IRS to target conservatives. You have big tech that's in cahoots with them as well. The Democrats and liberals in big tech that are trying to silence conservatives. They're trying to silence us and make us and cancel us. They've created this cancel culture. So if you have a group who share an ideology and are working to destroy a nation and a group and another group of people. They are very much projectionist. GP75 from Periscope. Thank you very much. Yes, I agree. What I would call a group that is actively working against the laws of the country, working against the betterment of this country. In fact, what they're doing is actually actively hurting the country. Uh, and they're trying to destabilize the American government and economy. And they don't condone any violence against conservatives. They're very destructive. Yes, Mom Patch. From Bitwave, yes. I would call that a domestic terrorist group, wouldn't you? I would. I don't see it in any other light, frankly. And I think that our government, I think that the United States government should seriously start implementing some verification processes about who's going into government. I'm not talking about an ideological litmus test or anything like that, but I am talking about seeing if people are fit to serve mentally, physically. I mean, take a look at Ilhan Omar, for example. There's a recent, I think today, there's some press release that she did talking about, I think what was going on in Iran or whatever. And she claims she has PTSD. She claims she has PTSD. I've never heard that she was officially diagnosed with this, So I don't know if this is just her saying that she has PTSD, like a lot of people say they do, and they don't really. They think they do. Um, but if she does, wouldn't someone with PTSD, wouldn't that be a rather large impediment to thinking critically? Wouldn't that be an impediment to properly view things in in an objective manner, as objective as humanly possible, let's put it. Um, it probably is another sympathy card. You're right, Mom Patch from Bitwave. You're right. I think that's the case. But PTSD is a serious condition for people that really have it. I have looked into this, not only because I always find these kind of things fascinating. I studied some of this in my academia days. I know people who have it. It can be crippling, like actually diagnosed. This can be crippling. And it's not something to just throw around and laugh at and use as an excuse for sympathy. This is something that can affect judgment behaviors. It's a big psychological thing, and it's not something that I think someone serving in Congress should should have, frankly. Um, so I do think that it would behoove President Donald Trump and his administration to perhaps look into that. Perhaps, uh, I mean, maybe he doesn't even have to because the Democrats are doing so poorly in polls. They're doing so poorly with the American people, and their party is getting fractured more and more each day. And um and they may end up just destroying themselves. And if that's the case, then so be it. I'm not going to miss the Democrat Party. But whatever happens, if the Democrat Party remains for who knows how long, or turns into something different, who knows? It may splinter and turn into something else, which would basically guarantee Republicans winning. Pelosi should be tested tomorrow. GP75 from Periscope. Yeah, yeah, I agree. A bunch of them should be tested. I think there should be random drug tests. I think there should be random booze tests to see how, with the blood alcohol level, especially in the case of Pelosi. I think she hits the sauce pretty hard. That's the rumor, at least. Uh, but I do think that there has to be some sort of fitness standard, mental fitness, and even physical fitness to an extent for people to serve. Um, they don't have to be athletes to serve in our country, no. Um, in the legislature, that's not what I'm saying. But if they have physical issues that make it difficult for them, that actually affects judgment, because there are some physical ailments that can affect judgment. Um, then I would definitely argue that some sort of testing and litmus test is required. But the thing is also, I'm a very, very big advocate for term limits. I think people should have one term in the legislature, and that's all of the legislature. And not even just that, even government positions, I feel like important government positions, not your average pencil pusher, but people that are in the higher ups, like influential people within the IRS, influential people within the FBI, CIA, things of that nature, where they can actually do a lot of damage. These people's tenures need to be limited as well. I don't think Comey, for example, should have been in his position for as long as it was. I don't think Brennan's position should have been as long as it was. I don't think um, Lerner was her name from the IRS. I don't think she should have been in her position as long as it was, because when you're in a position for a very long time, you get comfortable. You think you know, it's yours. It's your position. It's your house. It's your domain, and you'll do whatever the hell you want. And as especially especially if you're surrounded by like-minded people, because they're gonna let you get away with a lot of crap. But then you have the situation like we have now, where a whole new administration came in, which was not your average Republican administration. These weren't the kind of spineless Republicans that we're used to. We have Trump. We have a guy who doesn't give a crap. He will fight back and punch back to anybody. Even if he knows he's going to lose, he's going to fight back. If anybody has any doubts about how Trump thinks, actually read The Art of the Deal. I read it. And it's hey RC Cola. Uh I don't know. I got plenty of viewers on here and D Live and Periscope, so I guess I'm not as boring as you think, RC Cola. Plus Coca-Cola is superior. Anyway, Coca-Cola is greater than RC. No, I've had RC before. I have had RC before in a pinch. It's all right. But anyways, that's what I feel about the capacity to serve, and that was kind of a whole side tangent about this whole thing that we talked about. But speaking of politicians serving and not serving anymore, basically, this happened in December. But because I was on holiday, as they would say, I didn't get a chance to talk about this. Julian Castro, the guy's gone. He's out of the Democrat. He dropped out. Democrat primary. He dropped out. So it's kind of funny because he was going to say adios to Donald Trump. Well, I know, right? Why are you listening to me if I'm so bad? Anyways, I say adios, Julian, adios. Yeah, I find it ridiculous that this guy even thought he had a chance. Hey, GP75 from Periscope. I appreciate that. He says, I just started listening tonight. I'll definitely come back. US Hearts. Thank you. I appreciate the love. I appreciate listeners not only within the United States, but outside the United States. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it. There's a lot more conservatives in the world than a lot of people think. Especially what's happening in Europe with all the like populist movements, Brexit. Once Brexit actually goes through, that'll be interesting to see, and maybe we'll do a stream about that whole thing of what's the possibilities of what's going to happen. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of different options at that point. Once Brexit happens, that's the first domino. That is definitely the first domino of something potentially big. So, Troll ZODKH, say a bit you appreciate Israel. Well, I appreciate any ally, whatever it may be. So I'm not particularly partial to one or the other. If any country, if Italy wants to help America, if India wants to help America, if South Africa wants to help Africa, if Iceland wants to help Africa, I mean not Africa, help America. I'm I'm getting confused now. But anyways, any country that wants to help the United States, if they are a true ally, I have no problem with anybody. I don't have any sort of animosity towards anybody anywhere. I'm very much my philosophy very much encompasses the very basic um, crux of the teachings of the Catholic Church. For example, the very basic teachings of the Catholic Church say we are all the children of God. We are all of equal dignity. So if that's the case, you would have to treat everybody of equal dignity. And that's all I go with when it comes to that. Doesn't mean everybody's good, and doesn't mean that everybody's bad. And there are people that make bad decisions. There are people that make good decisions. There are people that are smart. There are people that are stupid. But it doesn't negate the intrinsic value of human life, which is the core of why Catholics in general should not go for, like, say, abortion or something like that, because it kind of contradicts the basic fundamentals. Just saying. But yeah, so in the past, we're reaching the conclusion here, the end of my stream. But before I end, in the past, in previous episodes, I mean, we're at 25 episodes now, apart from some of the special live stream commentaries that I've done with the Democrat debates and things like that. I've talked about certain topics that I would want to do a video about or talk about or maybe do an episode about. And I find that maybe doing a whole episode on these is a bit too much, so I thought I'd do these as an end cap to my episodes. And we're gonna try it out, see if that works, and see if we'll continue doing that or not. So and this can be also something that you, my listeners, can help me out with. If you have topics that you want me to cover and talk about, um, I'll definitely take requests and see if it's something that I can work into an episode. And if I can, great. If not, do you want to talk about herpes? What? Did I catch that right, troll text you? Um, we'll see if that's something I can talk about. Uh, So, and like I said, I want to do kind of these end cap topics, or maybe do something different at the end of my episodes where maybe I can take in some calls. Who knows? We'll see. Because I am on Discord, and if you go to bitwave.tv/the eternal abyss, you should be able to see the link to my Discord. So you can definitely join, and maybe I'll do calls one day, and we can have a conversation. But one quick thing that I wanted to talk about was that I've spoken about in the past is I have a lot of criticisms for how people debate and how they have a discussion, an argument online. And I thought it would be interesting to kind of provide some pointers, at least from my perspective, from what I find. Thank you, GPeach75. I hope you have a great night too. Um, I'll be around here streaming for another 10 minutes perhaps, so don't go away just yet. And make sure you follow and subscribe, please, and share. Um, so I have a lot of critiques about what I see online when it comes to debating an argument and debating any topic, whatever the topic may be. And I've had a good experience with debating, and I'm not claiming to be an expert on anything, but I do find that there are certain things that are kind of universal. That no matter whether you've been on the debate team or you just enjoy a good hearty discussion, I feel that there are certain things that would benefit anybody to just kind of keep in mind when you're engaging someone that is either a person who has a complete opposite belief system from yours, or you're just having a conversation with someone who has maybe some differences here and there in their way of thinking. First and foremost, the thing that I would recommend to everybody is choose your battles. Definitely choose your battles. You don't want to engage every single person. You don't want to have a discussion with every single troll that you meet online or even in person, because not everybody's worth your time. You have to kind of make that judgment call to see who you think it's worth having a discussion with. And I generally try and have discussions with people that seem receptive. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're willing to change their minds. Um, because it's not really a matter, I don't discuss things to try and change people's minds. I just like to have a discussion to understand why people believe what they believe, whether it's similar to what I believe or different, and vice versa. I want people to understand why I believe what I believe about any topic whatsoever. So I believe it would behoove anyone to make that judgment call. If you're engaging in a conversation with someone, you want it to be a good experience for both people involved, especially for yourself. You don't want to just waste your breath, time, energy, and get stressed over a discussion because these people are just not interested. All they're interested in is insulting you. And I usually try to have a discussion with people, as I mentioned, that are at least receptive, at least are civil enough to want to have a discussion, whether they agree with me or not. That's not important. But as long as they're receptive, I think that's a good start. Once you determine that someone is receptive, stick to facts and stick to the argument. People will use a lot of different tactics to try and get you off your game essentially. As, exactly, Mom Patch. You have to set boundaries for your debate. If you're talking about, for example, like we were discussing about Iran, if you're talking about the Iran conflict, then just stick to that point. Don't go into all these different things about different wars, different, Afghanistan, Syria, what happened with Gaddafi. Only if other conflicts have a legitimate reason to be part of that one discussion, then you would introduce that. And that's kind of a general rule I find is like people will try and go off on these tangents because many people either just are incapable of staying on point, or as soon as you refute a point, they're going to pivot, they're going to twist, they're going to try and change the point, they're going to keep moving the goalpost. And that's the biggest key here. The reason why you want to stick to the topic at hand is because people will try and move the goalpost on you. And if you can recognize that, you can definitely prevent that goalpost from moving, and you can ensure that your discussion will end up favoring you at the end, where you are the victor coming out of this debate because you have stuck to the point, you have stuck to the facts, and this person clearly was not either serious about a discussion or just is not good at what they're doing, or they're just incorrect. Maybe they just have bad information, so they think that pivoting into some other from bad information to bad information is how they're gonna win the argument. No. Other things that I've noticed in my many years of not only online discussions but in person, you have some people that do what is called and I'm gonna age myself now. I know some people are gonna call me a boomer when I say this, but bear with me. I call it the broken record disease, where for those millennials that may not know what I'm talking about, look it up. I'm not going to tell you what a record is, what vinyl is. Look it up. Hipsters might know, but but these people just keep repeating themselves over and over and over and over. I know, Mom Patch. I know the horror of being older. I know. How could I? You have to explain these things to people. I can't believe you have to explain this stuff. Oh, I've been called that for over vinyl. On rare occasion, I have troll VNSI. It has happened. It has happened. But I call these people broken record disease because all they're doing is it's like you're listening to a record that has a skip. You go blip, blip, blip. They just keep saying the same thing over and over and over. And they think that repetition means they're winning the argument. That's the beautiful part of that, which to me is rather surprising. Is my chat not scrolling in stream? Okay, there it is. For some reason, it seemed like it was stuck. Um, yeah. So that is one thing where people, if they just keep repeating themselves, you know you've won the debate because they don't have any other argument. The opposite of that is creating a straw man. This is a very well-known tactic of just creating this false premise that supposedly is supposed to show that their argument has any sort of validity. That rarely ever is the case. It's a tactic And a lot of times, if you're well versed in debate, you'll realize very quickly when people try and use that. Um, what else is there that I've seen in the past? Oh, here's one thing. Um, no, I'm not a proponent of declaring unilateral victory in debates. No, but I think that at a certain point you will know whether the debate has gone well for you or if you screwed up. Um, so the other thing, I see. I don't really view debates as a win or lose thing. Actually, I view debates as a either a positive discussion or a discussion that led to nowhere. And if I'm going to debate someone, I'd rather have a discussion that is a positive thing. I get something out of it and they get something out of it. We may not agree at the end of the day, but either I was corrected on something or they were corrected on something or we just had a good exchange. Well, that's a good question, Nexus. Hi Nexus, hi Nexus, hi Nexus, hi Nexus. That's a good question. Can you debate yourself? um, I've never tried debating myself. No, no, troll, VNSI. I don't look at I don't look at it as a spectrum like gender. No, no. I mean, you either have a debate with someone, you actually have a discussion or a debate, or you don't. There's really not a lot of in between. There's not a lot of gray area when it comes to that. Let me give you an example of another thing that I find annoying when people debate. Um, Being lazy. A lot of people nowadays, especially, are very lazy about sources, citing sources, getting information, getting data. They just say, I've heard this, I've heard that, and that's it. I actually think it's better to have citations, to have sources, do research, be factual. If you stick to facts and truth, you'll never lose a debate, really. You never end up in a debate that works in your disfavor. Let's put it that way. At the end of the day, you'll come out looking a lot better than your opponent. Um, Another thing is that really I guess this is the last point I'll say about debates because there's a lot more that I could say, but this is the one thing that really irks me when I'm having a debate with someone when they go ad hominem. And I'm pretty sure most people know what that means. But for just in case someone's listening to this and they're interested in learning about different techniques, terms when it comes to debating, ad hominem is a Latin term. It means at the person. And what that is they're attacking the person. They're not attacking the argument. They're insulting you. They call you racist. They call you xenophobe. They call you a homophobe. They're not disputing anything that you're saying. They're just insulting you. And this is very common. This is something that's used profusely by the left. It's very much used all the time by the left. It's used by SJWs and snowflakes and liberals all the time. So it's something that if someone engages you in that fashion, that goes back to the very first point I made about discerning who you're going to have a debate with. Because like I usually don't waste my time with people that just go ad hominem. And if you're in a discussion and these people get riled up to the point where they go ad hominem, generally what I do is at that point I feel that the debate is going nowhere at that point. Because if you're not going to stick to the point that we're talking about, you're not sticking to the topic, then there's no point. There's just no point in continuing the discussion. Simple. That's the way I see it. So just a quick recap then. Discern your opponent. Uh, Stick to facts and truth. Uh, look up different techniques of debate and see, if people are trying to use these different techniques like strawman arguments or ad hominem and things like that. There's a whole slew of different things that people try and do to do trickery. To Yeah, that's true, Mom Patch. Democrats don't debate, they use emotion. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Um, which is the last point. Which actually that actually brings up a very interesting point. The final thing that I would say about debating is that people can get very heated over a debate. They can absolutely get heated over a debate. I myself can get very passionate about certain topics. Um, and there's not necessarily to me, it's not a problem to be passionate about what you're discussing. But when you let that passion take over, and you're arguing just passion over facts and reality and biology and mathematics, things like that. When your emotions are clouding your judgment, that's where you need to take a step back and have a reassessment. So, as I was saying, a quick recap. Um, Assess your opponent. Have discussions that are worth having. Try and avoid all the pitfalls that debates can have. People moving the goalpost, being repetitive, circular arguments as well. That kind of goes with being repetitive. They keep just circling back and they keep repeat going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Um, and you know, well, debate someone now, Nexus. Right now? Well, who? I don't know who to debate. Debate Nexus on carb intake. So I be a pro carb intake guy or a con carb intake guy? Well, if you never, Troll is asking, well, if you never address the point, isn't bringing it back up appropriate? Well, yeah, I mean, the point has to be, the point of the debate has to be discussed. If it's never brought up and you're just having all these tangential discussions, um, then you're just wasting your time. Like if we're supposed to debate about carb intake and we start talking about, uh, what's the best car manufacturer, we never really got into the proper topic, did we? It doesn't make any sense. So I would say saturated fats versus sugar. Um, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not gonna get into that sort of discussion. And that's the biggest thing too. Like what Dispatch is saying here, I can't honestly take the politics too seriously to any degree anymore. I just kind of assume that everyone is a LARP. You're gonna have a lot of LARPers. You're gonna have a lot of trolls. You're gonna have a lot of people that just get into a discussion for the sake of getting into a discussion. Um, so yeah, yeah, you got to watch out for that too. And I think that's one of the big things. Don't take these discussions and debates too seriously. You do want to enjoy the discussion. You want to have a good time. You don't want to get all stressed into a ball and have a blood vessel burst in your head over the stress. So I completely agree that you shouldn't take things too seriously. You have to be able to laugh. You have to be able to have some levity in the discussion. Even if it's snark, even if it's some sarcasm or snark or humor, try and inject that if you can. Um, and I think with that, hopefully that will be helpful for people that get into these sort of political discussions online. And one last thing I would like to say is, um, about discerning people and everything is don't be shy about having discussions with people. if you, people are a lot more receptive than you think sometimes. A lot of people have this kind of appearance of, well, this guy is on the left, so I don't even want to talk to him. And the left people would look at someone on the right and say, oh, he's on the right, I don't even want to talk to him. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how receptive people can be, even if you have absolutely complete opposite beliefs. It's really surprising sometimes. Debate next is about what? What I'm not going to discuss about carbs. I'm not interested in that sort of topic. Why would I want to discuss that? I know. I really don't. So, so I think we're going to call it a episode at this point. I want to thank everybody for watching here on Debate the State of Iran. Let's go. What about the state of Iran? What about it? Like what am I supposed to be? I'm not running. I'm right here. I'm asking what are you talking about? What do you You're in the waiting room? Hold on. Oh yeah, look you are. We're gonna welcome Nexus on to here real quick. Let's see what happens. There we go. Hold on. You should be. How do I unmute you? Hold on. I try and say something. Can people hear him? Because I can't hear him. What's going on? Hold on. Hold up. Why can't I hear you? Actually, I need to bring your volume up here first of all. So there's that. Um, let's see here. That's weird. I'm not able to hear anything from Discord. My microphone is working though, but I can't hear anything. Try now.
Why?
Okay. Oh, boy. I do not understand why it's not piping properly to
Could you
my
just
headphones here.
change your output device?
I can't, I'm sorry, Nexus, I can't. No, he's not muted because I do see levels in OBS. Do you guys hear him though? This is Ralph to your fuckery. I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties here. Hey, me, you were able to hear him. Yeah, but I can't for some reason. You guys can, but for some reason,
Output
my audio
device.
is being absolutely derpy. Um, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. What do we got here? Okay, let me try one thing. I think I may know what's going on. Let me try something here. Okay, try and say something. Yes, it is. I can hear you now, so let me see if I can fix this so everybody else can. All right, I can hear you. One more time.
Why?
There we go. Welcome, Nexus. Hi, Nexus. Hi, Nexus. Hi, Nexus.
Guten Tag.
So, how's it going? Did you have a good holiday? Good New Year's?
Yes.
Cool.
I
So,
still have a bottle of what is it? The fucking wine I drink. Why? Because liquor makes me puke.
well, I generally don't drink much,
That's what
so
happens after you drink half a gallon of apple pie moonshine.
ooh.
Fucking can't touch it. The fucking shit from the cinnamon in it. Fucking I
Ah,
was puking chunks.
hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that. I've never been so much in that situation myself because I usually try to avoid drinking a lot in any
Yeah, you
capacity, but
probably haven't been out in a lawn chair in the middle of the night in your underwear drinking out of a garden hose because you're too fucking drunk and you don't know what the fuck's going on.
I can't say I've had that experience. No, no.
I have.
Well, at least one of us has.
Wheat.
Woohoo! So you wanted to debate, I guess? I don't know.
Yes! Yes! Tell me,
Yes, sir.
is it wrong to believe that we should nuke all of the Middle East, Iran especially? Let's just add in Israel for good measure. Tell
Is
me,
it
am I wrong?
wrong to nuke the entire Middle East?
Yes, turn it into a giant sheet of glass. When the fallout clears, then there's no one there left. Let's just
Well,
take it all.
as I mentioned earlier, because of my belief system, being that I was raised not just raised Catholic, I've done a lot of theological study as well. I'm not one of those people that were just raised Catholic and just blindly said, uh-huh. Um,
My grandmother was Catholic, and the rest of my family was Baptist.
Interesting combo. There's that's an interesting combo for sure. Uh, as I was saying earlier, the basic one of the most basic things about Catholicism is that the belief that everyone is the children of God and that we are all of equal dignity, and as such, we should treat each other that that way, that we are all, of all equal dignity. So um, I and also there's the whole thou shall not kill thing. Um,
Just
I
because it says thou shalt not kill doesn't mean you can't stone a few people for wearing plaid. Alright?
I'll leave that to the fashion police. But
What are you talking about? It's in the Bible.
I haven't quite
If
seen
it,
that myself. But I'm
yes, it's in the Bible. If someone wears a garb made of uh two separate threads of different colors or some shit like that, they should be stoned. That's in the Bible.
well, I'm
It's
not
a
sure what
biblical book.
translation that is. I would have to look at the Bible to see exactly what that passage says to make a comment on it. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm not gonna discuss that. But going back to the point that you were asking, um, I would feel that to take such an action, that's a very dramatic action, a grave action to take for an entire swath of the globe.
Nah, we did it to Japan.
Well, yeah, and that had very long-term consequences for
Yeah, we
those
got
people.
anime out of it.
Yeah, and some would argue that really wasn't a good thing. But so my thing is this: I think that before we get to that point where we glass the entire Middle East, I think that there are steps that we can take to try and avoid that, because I'm sure there are some
So I got a
reasonable
question for
folks.
you. Do you think the only way to launch a nuke is via ICBM?
I am I'm not familiar with different launch methods. I know about drops from planes,
ICBM's ICBM stands for Intercontinental Ballistic
ballistics.
Missile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one way.
Yep.
In the past, that's how it was done. Not that's not. I'm sorry.
No, in the
I meant
past
to
it
say
was
in the past
dropped
it was
from
dropped.
B-52 bombers.
Yeah, yeah. In the past it was dropped. Now we have those intercontinental ballistic missiles. I'm sure there are other methods of delivery in the future. It wouldn't surprise me. So
Technically, you could drop it off. All you could put it in the truck.
yeah. like I said, there are different ways of delivering a payload of that kind. So to me, again, going back to the should we or should we not, I would say um, it's preferable not because, in my opinion, that's bad optics. We kind of look like, even though we were in the right when it came to Japan, we turned out looking like the bad guys because we just
Nah.
well, long history has not looked too kindly on that
Just
in
some,
certain
just
groups.
because some pussies out there go and say, "Oh, it's too powerful, and we don't know how to make them," doesn't mean you can't use them. If a fucking person in South Africa or some shit walks up to you, a nigger, of course, and they're like, "Hey, I got my
I'm
spear.
on
I'm gonna
YouTube.
raid your house," and you shoot them in the fucking face with a fucking 20 gauge. What the fuck are they gonna do? Go cry to the Geneva Convention because shotguns are banned?
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is
Oh wait, Germany already did that.
yeah, they did. No, but and also if you can try and curb the N word, since that I'm on YouTube, I want to try and maintain that channel if I can.
Oh
I
shit, you're
appreciate it.
on YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube
If I'm going
And
a little too
Periscope.
intense.
So hopefully my channel will still be alive by tomorrow. But apart from that,
It will.
yeah.
Don't worry.
No, what I'm saying, all that I'm saying is like even if you're in the right, sometimes optics can make it look bad. And I think that before we reach that point, because with Japan, we didn't just say we got into a conflict with Japan and that was the first thing we did. There was a whole series of steps that brought us up to dropping the atom bomb on them. So I don't think we're at that point yet, where that's the only recourse we have left.
That's not true. If you
Uh,
get attacked, in my opinion, any retaliation is fine.
Well,
Use the
that's
full of your
yeah, but
force.
there are levels of retaliation. Like if someone slaps you on the face, you don't take a bazooka and ram it up their ass. I think
You're
there's
right. You punch them square in the nose, break their nose, fucking knock them out.
yeah, that's I would say a somewhat proper response instead of going like full tilt on them and ripping their head off. There's an appropriate response for an attack to you.
Okay, so what would you consider 20 years of terrorism? Killing in the name of God, because that's what your country believes in.
Well, I would view that as bad, generally speaking. And I feel that it's not only a matter of them being terrorists. I feel that they have been enabled by a lot of different players on the stage.
Mainly Israel.
Well, yeah, but you also have players
But
around
they
the
also
world.
threatened to bomb Israel. It's one giant circle jerk. Fucking love it. And I hate it. I
Well,
want it to fucking end.
well, the
Everyone wants it to end.
yeah, the Middle
It's
East
a
is a
bigger
mess.
dis. If I was president in Trump's shoes, I heard that they shot an airstrike at one of our bases where our troops were. They
Mhm.
were openly attacking American civilians. The second I heard that those missiles went out, I would have been like, okay, nuke it, nuke their capital. I don't give a fuck. Turn it to fucking dust.
Well,
You
see,
wanna fuck on me? Oh, I'll fuck on you.
and that is a possible response. If I was president, I would probably respond. I don't think I'd nuke them, but I would respond, and because I
I
have.
would nuke them, and my response would be, "It's over. We won. Go home. Send all the troops home. Deal with the fucking mess yourself."
eh, I don't know. I think that the Middle East is a big mess, and the Middle East is a big mess for a lot of different reasons. Part of it is a cultural thing. Part of it is the fact that Islam has had a stronghold in that area for a very long time, and it's made their brains to mush, frankly, in my opinion. It's these Ayatollah-led regimes, for example, like These theocracies, it's a mess. It
Do
creates
you
a
know why
lot of
people
problems.
do you know why people use the term terrorist? Because there's so many of these separate fucking groups. ISIS, Ayatollah, fucking Al
Hezbollah.
Qaeda, Hezbollah. There's so many fucking different things. They're all funded by what is it? Pakistan, Iraq, Iran, Israel, Syria. Those are the main players in the terrorist game. It's because they make millions of dollars offshores from pretty much raiding nations for their wealth and then using terrorist attacks to pressure, using sleeper cells. It's Cold War shit, but they're fucking attacking,
Yeah, I
mostly
mean,
because they're all retarded.
there's a lot of layers to that onion. There's a lot of countries that are playing this elaborate game of chess with other countries, and you have other
You know what the
you
easiest way to beat a chess game is?
flip the table.
No, take
What?
out their key players as soon as you can. Try to
That's
use a
true.
pawn to do it. Never risk your knight
Oh,
for
absolutely.
a bishop.
Yeah, well, that's what the pawns are for. You use them to try and take out people.
No, your pawns are defense.
Well, you can use them to take out people too if you're smart.
Your pawns are always used as defense. Only attack with your pawn if you absolutely have to.
I don't know. I've seen some chess techniques where it's not that pawns are used exclusively for attacking. You're absolutely right that they're mainly for defense, but I've seen some chess players use pawns in a very interesting and intelligent way to kind of lure their opponents into certain areas and then use the pawns themselves to take out like a knight or a rook or something like that because they positioned themselves in such a way that the opponent didn't realize that the pawn.
And that's why they're defense.
Yeah, but still, I when I see stuff like that, I kind of view that more as an offensive move
That's
than.
using a defense as an offense.
I get
That's
that,
the
but
simple
it's
fact.
still an
Your
offense. It's
greatest
still a form of
offense is your
offense.
best defense.
I get that. I get that, but I'm just saying the way it's used, it's a very interesting line of offense that I view it as an interesting line of offense. But anyways, um, my going back to the whole point of the discussion though, I just don't think that glassing an entire area is going to make us look good. That's the only problem. It's bad optics all around. No matter who's the president is, no matter who's in the
Who
administration.
cares about the optics?
Well, you want to care about the optics if you want to have
No, you
long-term
want to get your
stability.
job done, in my opinion.
You do, but you also want to.
Who cares about uh beating around the bush? If you see a path straight forward that you can take, that's gonna be hands down the quickest and easiest solution and have the least amount of death in the end, I'd take that.
Well, I would like to, if possible, if at all possible, I would like to see a middle ground where you get the job done and you look good doing it. If you could,
I,
if I think that's a win-win if you can pull that off.
of course, and that's why it'll never happen.
I don't know. I think that there are ways to make that happen.
It's almost impossible.
I don't know. I mean, World War II, for example, we were very much hailed as the heroes of World War II. It was thanks to us that we pretty much solved that World War once we got in full tilt. So,
What? World War II?
yeah.
Oh, we had that one way before. We actually nuked them so they wouldn't kill themselves in mass.
Well, I'm talking generally.
When we nuked Japan, they were pretty much getting ready to, the women, children, everyone were getting ready to kill themselves so they wouldn't be captured by the US. So we nuked them and scared them into surrender. We used a massive power play to instantly end the war.
I never heard that specifically. What I had heard in my studies, because I actually did a lot of studying about World
I,
War
for,
II.
I forget where it was. It was one of the islands. And the Japanese had a base there. Women, children, everything. What they did was, when the US was coming, the women, children, and soldiers all jumped off a cliff like lemmings because they didn't want to lose or be disgraced by losing to the US, so they killed them.
Hmm. I don't
In
know.
the end,
I've
it
never
was the
heard that.
smartest move to just nuke them.
Hmm. That's interesting. I'd like to see some information about that because honestly, I just have not heard that. I'm not saying that you're not saying the truth. I'm just saying I have personally never heard that part of it. So it would be interesting for me to read up on that. But the stuff, pardon me, the stuff that I have read have basically relayed the information in a way that Japan just would not stop. They would not quit it. Even though Europe was essentially falling. The axis of evil was falling. They in this uh, war stage in the Pacific, Japan, even
I
though
didn't read this at all, but I just sent you a link. It's called atomicheritage.org, and it pretty much says Japanese mass suicides because they won't surrender.
okay, well, I'll definitely take a look at that. And that may have been a contributing factor for sure, if that was the case. What I read was is just that they just kept saying we're not going to stop. Essentially, that's what Japan was relaying to everybody that no matter even though it was a lost cause for them because of that kind of thing where they didn't want to be disgraced that they're going to go down fighting no matter what and they were going to try and take out America as much as possible, even try and go to our mainland. So that's when the two bombs were dropped to make them stop, and that's made them stop.
No, see, at the point in which we dropped the nukes, we had pretty much already won the war. We had captured almost all the islands that they had
Yeah,
held,
and they
and they
kept
were just,
insisting.
yes, they were going to fight to the bitter end,
Yeah,
and they would have killed 90% of their population.
yeah. So I get that, and that's what I mean. Like from what I read, that was the main reason was that they were willing to sacrifice their entire country, even if they were going to lose. And America was like, okay, you know what? Instead of prolonging this for another couple years, we're just going to drop the bomb on you guys and to quit it. And they
And
did.
that's what I said.
Yeah.
So you agree?
Yeah, I did. I didn't quite hear it from that kind of perspective, but essentially, I mean, we're both talking about the same coin, different sides, really. But pretty much, yeah, I agree.
All right. Now tell me, when it comes to Iran, tell me why I'm wrong that just nuking, because they won't surrender. They won't. They will
Well,
never surrender. They are like the Japanese were. Just fucking drop a nuke on their capital, watch their entire government go into shambles, say fuck you, deal with it yourself. You're not getting any money. We're gonna own this strip right here, this bit of ocean, this massive trade route. Yeah, we're gonna put a fucking tariff on it or whatever. So whenever a boat goes through it, they have to pay a certain amount of money based on their cargo. Boom, instant amounts of money. You fucking dealt with the Middle East. I don't give a fuck. It's over.
well, I think there's two major reasons why I wouldn't just go all out nuke. And one of the reasons is that prior to the 70s, before the Ayatollahs came into power, Iran was pretty much a prosperous country. Iran was prosperous. You had women going around in bikinis on the beaches. I mean, there wasn't this whole theocracy stronghold on the populace. You didn't have this kind of dictatorship. Um, and they were a thriving country. And between the 70s and now, it hasn't been a whole lot of time, really, if, on the grand scheme of things, especially how things have been going in the Middle East for the past several hundred,
No, it's
if not
because we
thousand
went in there
years.
in the first place.
I'm
You
sorry?
go in there, you make a mess, clean up your mess. Don't fucking leave it. If you're gonna go in, make sure you have a game plan. Don't fucking go in and plan to never finish.
Well, that's a problem with weak-willed politicians like,
The
you know,
military industrial complex is a scam. It'll never work in the future.
hmm, I don't know if I necessarily view the military as a military industrial complex, but the one thing that I can say is like because
Wait, do
ev-
you disagree on that?
on what?
The military industrial complex. Do you
Uh,
think it's good?
Well, a country needs a military.
Yes, but
Without a
not a military
military,
industrial complex. The forever wars and shit.
no, you don't need the forever wars. And I don't think all of the conflicts that we've got into are have gotten that have we I don't think we've gotten to all these conflicts to be forever conflicts. I think some of
Yes,
them
they are.
some of them that may have been
That's
the
why it was
attention.
neocon.
I don't know. I think part of it is sheer incompetence or sheer lack of spine. Like you had the Obama administration, they did not know what the hell they were doing. They were tying the hands of military where they couldn't complete missions in a timely manner because they were putting all these ridiculous restrictions on the military and going through all these layers of approval. Like in the case of Soleimani, if the military had to wait on the legislature to approve the strike, by the time they would have gone through all the red tape, Soleimani would have gotten away. So part of it, I'm sure there are some people and some parts of the military and some politicians that they do profit from wars and they want wars for that reason. Part of it, I think it's just also incompetence, just sheer incompetence of not knowing what the hell they're doing as being the head of the executive branch, for example. Um, so to me, it's not just a black and white issue in that case. That's why to me, when I hear the term the industrial military complex, it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, I get some of that. I don't necessarily disagree, but at the same time, I think it's a bit nuanced. I don't think it's just so black and white. Know what I mean?
The world is black and white, though.
In a lot of things, yes, but there are some things that there are nuance. There is nuance.
Do you believe that dropping a nuke will cause a global thermal nuclear war?
Mm,
Because that's
possibly.
usually the stance people take if they're afraid of nukes.
It's possible. It's possible because it really depends on who is on the receiving end of that nuke. Uh, like, if I were to drop a nuke on Russia, yeah, there's going to be retaliation of a similar kind. Like, if you get all these nuclear powers involved, it's going to become a big mess very fast. Very, very fast. And I think I like the idea of nuclear power more as a deterrent than something that we just keep popping off here and there.
You sound like a neocon.
Well,
You want to keep going.
I'm not a neocon. I'm just a regular conservative.
I'm not sure.
Well, I know what I am. I don't I'm not someone who advocates for wars. I'm not someone who wants wars, but at the same time, I do understand sometimes conflicts are necessary. Sometimes you
I would
have
like to say something quick. Who was it? Troll ACD4. Hollywood propaganda. Jewish propaganda. I don't give a fuck. It's a weapon. I'll use a weapon if I have to.
mhm. We have some other people in the waiting room now. I wasn't prepared to have a lot of people on the call list here, so I think I'd rather do just one at a time instead of a big group chat because it'll be difficult to kind of hear each other if too many people are talking over each other.
It'll probably just be spam.
That too. So I don't even know who these people. I don't know who this 1036 in Games and Talk. I don't know who these people are.
They're probably just people from chat. Probably troll IDs.
Yeah, probably. Thank you for the lemon train wave on D Live. Appreciate it. um, but see, like I said, to me, I think it depends on the level. I think that depends on a lot of different factors. I don't necessarily think going from zero to nuclear is ideal
Why not?
because to me the response um, should match what was done to you. I don't think that if someone steps on my foot, I should take a shotgun and put it in their mouth and pull the trigger. I think there's different levels of escalation here, and if it's gonna get to the point of
How is
nuclear,
launching missiles at a military base or encampment equivalent to someone stepping on your foot? In my opinion, that's someone trying to do a drive-by of your house.
thanks for the follow. Memes did it um, on D Live. See, to me, again, okay, they hit a military base. Fine, I'll hit one of their military bases. Maybe two in response. That's what I mean. I don't think that hitting a military base is the equivalent of then dropping a nuke on the entire country, where there are plenty of citizens that don't like their own government there, have been protesting, have been killed by their own government. And I'd be just nuking them too. I don't think that's like I want to help them reclaim their country. I think it's better.
Nukes have different scales. You could do a nuke that has the correct scale to just hit their capital.
I don't know.
And when I say
Maybe.
capital, I mean like their equivalent of their parliament.
Yeah, I mean that's something that we could do, but then, there's an argument for being trying not to do regime change and
What
interventionism.
regime change? There's no regime left. They'll
Well,
have to make a new one entirely.
that's change.
I don't care. Let's see what
Well,
happens. See, once their government's destroyed, other countries will come in and take the land anyway.
possibly, and that's one thing that you have to weigh. Who can possibly come in? Is it going to be beneficial to
Yep.
you or not?
Let them start their own little war over it. It'll keep them busy. They'll forget about us.
They have not been able to sort their own area for thousands of years.
Yep.
I don't think dropping a nuke is going to be any more beneficial than what's happening now, honestly. So they have a problem at the core. It's a cultural problem that they have in the Middle East.
Destroy the culture.
Well, there's different ways of doing that, and part of that is
I find a giant shock of reality would hit them pretty hard.
possibly. Troll ACD4 in chat says, "Would you like to play a game, Nexus?"
Yeah, he's talking about war games. It's Hollywood propaganda. It's literally that movie and the game are designed to scare people of nuclear warfare. It's to make it so nukes are big bad evil thing. It's just physics.
Yeah, it is, but at the same time, you can have nuclear fallout, you can have nuclear materials going into the land and water. You can have long-term consequences that you can't always predict. I don't view nuclear as something this big bad boogeyman. In fact, I actually think nuclear is a really good option for power plants.
Totally different system.
I
Doesn't work
know.
in any of the same ways.
I understand, but I'm saying when you talk about nuclear in general, a lot of people freak out no matter what you're talking about. People think nuclear and they're like, "Oh my God, radiation, we're all gonna die." No matter
No,
what. So
that's not how it works.
well, I know. But the thing is, a lot of people get really freaked out over it, and when you
Uneducated masses.
well, and that's the problem. That's the problem. People need to get educated, which is why you have to have people like us streamers now go online and provide facts because the mainstream media is pushing propaganda from Iran, for example. It's ridiculous. We're at a point of absolute silliness when it comes to media and Hollywood and all that kind of stuff. That I absolutely agree with.
Yeah, it's all propaganda. It's all fake. It has been for years.
Oh yeah, a lot of it is. I mean, Even the news that I thought, I mean, I knew for, like, take Fox News, for example. I knew Fox News has their own biases and propagandize in their own fashion as well. I was hoping that
Anything
there
on
was like,
propaganda.
what?
Anything on TV is propaganda.
Yeah,
Anything.
yeah, it can be. It very much can be.
No, I shouldn't say anything. I should say everything on TV is propaganda.
I don't know about everything.
Yes.
I would say a good portion of programming and news media and things coming out
No.
of certain studios are
No.
definitely propaganda.
Oh, yes.
Others, I think there's more of a mix. I think there may be some propaganda in some things, and other programming there may not be too much
Every
propaganda.
single news station is all. News should be relabeled as propaganda. That's it.
Yeah, well,
It
I
doesn't
think,
matter if you're listening to your local station or Fox News or CNN. It's all propaganda. I know someone that works for the captioning agency that deals with most of the small time uh, uh, news station,
uh-huh.
and he tells me that he doesn't believe anything that you hear on the news now because he writes the same thing over and over again from New York to LA. It's the same exact thing. Your
Yeah.
small channels, your big channels, it
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Oh yeah. I've seen these collages of videos. They're very entertaining, actually. I've seen these collages of videos of the same talking points from CNN all the way to your little rinky-dink WKRP Cincinnati kind of thing, where they all say the exact same thing, same wording, same inflection, same talking points. It's almost frightening when
Yep.
you see these things, but at the same time, they're infinitely amusing. So I absolutely agree when it comes to news media. Oh yeah, there is so much propagandizing when it comes to that. It's ridiculous, which is why I do feel that a good solution to that is to make it so if there's any libel or defamation or whatever, like, force media to report factually. If they aren't reporting factually, make it that you can take them to court. Because that's
You
when,
can't.
if they change the laws, you can.
No. Covington kids won.
I don't view that as a victory. Yeah, that is another news item that I didn't talk about. The Covington kids, and CNN settled with them. I think they should have just gone all the way. I don't think Covington kids should have.
Oh, they probably got like 10 figures out of that shit.
Oh, I've heard some rumors of $25 million.
25 million? Oh, fuck. If they took that deal, they're fucking idiots. They could have easily gotten 200.
Yeah, well, I've heard different. It's undisclosed at this point, so it's sheer speculation. But there's rumors that it's 25 million. Who knows what the actual number is? And to me, that's ridiculous because they had a clear-cut case of defamation. They could have taken CNN to the cleaners. They could have destroyed them as a network. CNN could have been the next Gawker.
I'm bored. Bye.
Okay, bye. Thanks for stopping by, Nexus. So sorry for the folks in the waiting room. I'm not too familiar with who you guys are by name, so if you drop me a message, maybe next time I can bring you on. It's I've been streaming now for, let's see, 2 hours and 13 minutes. My throat is getting a little tired, and it's getting late. So I want to thank everybody for watching on all the platforms on Bitwave, DLive, YouTube, Periscope. Please subscribe, please follow, and if you feeling generous enough, please support me. Streamlabs.com/The Eternal Abyss. The liberals and the big tech, they want to silence us. We need your help to stay alive and stay active here and push out facts, reality, biology, mathematics, you know, real conservative values. So any support you guys can provide, I appreciate that. But first and foremost, follow, subscribe, and hit notification buttons and such so you know when I'm going to be streaming next. I want to thank you again for watching, and I hope everyone has a great night and a wonderful weekend coming up. And I'll catch you next week. Have a great night. Bye.